Hello, my name is Prime, and welcome back to ATS Showcases, and today we are here once again in the Iowa DLC, and we are going to haul corn today to an ethanol plant in Fort Dodge. Now, the Iowa DLC has a few brand new ethanol plants, with the largest one in Mason City in Fort Dodge, and one more just outside of Burlington. Now, you would not believe how difficult it was for me to try and find a delivery hauling corn to one of these ethanol plants within the Iowa DLC for today's video. Now, keep in mind, I am recording this in an early access version of the Iowa DLC, so everything is still technically in a work in progress state. So even something like the cargo network could still be slightly tweaked. Much of the cargo network is randomized anyways, so honestly, results will probably vary between you and me. So without further ado, let's get this International 9900i started up and then fill up our ownable Load King trailer with corn to haul to Fort Dodge. And once again, in today's video, I am not using any third-party modifications. Everything you hear and see is American Truck Simulator and the official DLC content that you can purchase for the game through and through. All right, the tarp is off on our Load King trailer, and let's go ahead and pull around the corner here and fill up with some corn. So this is using the dynamic loading and unloading feature today, friends. I have verified that. I am so happy about this too, by the way, being able to load up our corn here at a grain silo, and we will be delivering to the ethanol plant and unloading it dynamically over a grain pit. So that is going to be really neat, and I think will just, of course, add to the immersion of it, and is a fantastic feature of the ethanol plants here in the Iowa DLC. And of course, I'll talk about that a little bit more here once we get on the road. So as far as I know, yes, we have to pull forward just a little bit more because this is a 2-compartment grain hopper trailer here from Load King. And so I've decided to come back here with the International 9900. I haven't driven this truck in quite some time, and this orange and white paint job I think looks quite sharp indeed. And of course, paired with an Load King trailer, can't really go wrong with that, can we, at all? And by the looks of it, the trailer is just about done, and there we go. And with the tarp back on the trailer, it's now time to finally get on the road. All right, let's get rolling. Hopefully everyone's doing well. I certainly am. Great to be back here in the Iowa DLC. Once again, thank you to SES Software for giving me early access to the Iowa DLC, releasing on July 10th, 2025 for all of you. And depending on when you watch this video, well, hopefully this video has found you well. And second of all, the video you may be watching this after the Iowa DLC has been officially released, and if that's the case, hopefully you are enjoying the DLC, or hopefully you are enjoying this content so you can see if you want to pick up the DLC for yourself. Now, here with the ethanol plants, obviously a new industry for ATS, and in particular here with the Iowa DLC, and the significance of agriculture in general is no surprise here in Iowa, and it's great to see some, well, ethanol plants here and doing a more realistic delivery, that is for sure, here in Iowa with this. And once again, as I mentioned while loading up the trailer, back in the 9900i, and I must say, I think the stock sounds of the 9900i may be one of the better sounds stock in ATS across the board. Everyone will have an opinion on that, but I do think it's still one of the better ones overall. Of course, with the Load King trailer behind us, had to do it. If you don't own the Load King trailer pack DLC already, would highly recommend you check that out. Well worth it, in my opinion. But yes, here going to an ethanol plant, and in particular because of the way the route goes, and actually we'll show you that right now because I'm doing it in a weird order because I can. The normal route, the shortest route, goes through from here in Mason City down to Fort Dodge, just along the 35 and into the 20. We are going to do a detour into the heart of Mason City and head to the Synthetico here. I may or may not have been trying to find a job around here. Again, the search was a bit of a challenge. We're going to go through the heart of Mason City and then continue on our way through to Fort Dodge to complete it out. Obviously, probably wouldn't be ideal to do a scenic route with a full load of corn in your trailer behind you. You probably want to maximize your delivery time, but we are going to take a little bit of a scenic delivery today, take some creative liberty with it as well. Now, I must say a huge thank you to everyone who well supported the first look video and to everyone that is new here around the channel. First of all, welcome. Glad you enjoy the content here, and there's plenty of it around the channel, and there'll be plenty more coming very soon. Of course, I've got lots planned here for ATS and ETS2 and other games alike, so stick around. You'll be able to find something. And of course, comment down below if you want to see anything in particular from me. But a huge thank you for all the support shown on that video. Of course, you are the reason why SES Software gives me these DLCs to do early access for, and I am truly grateful for both you and SES Software for the opportunities that come up. This isn't something that normally, as just an ATS fan and player, this is why I do this. I enjoy playing the game for the game itself. The content creation side is just another side of the hobby that I truly enjoy doing. It's not for the numbers or whatever, but I do appreciate all the support shown. Monetarily wise, it allows me to continually improve stuff here on the channel for the sake of efficiency and production, and of course, well, for your end enjoyment as well. And of course, it helps me along the way, as this is not a full-time position, but definitely a nice added bonus, shall I say, being honest with you. Either way, huge thank you. Absolutely fantastic to see the interaction on that, and I know a lot of you are excited for the Iowa DLC. And also, a huge thank you to everyone who corrected me on the pronunciation of various city names. Now, this is something that I am always open to, and I always call for, to be honest, because I am just going to continually mess those things up. That's no matter how much research I do, no matter what I do, I'm probably going to, one, either forget, or two, not figure it out correctly, or just, actually there is a third option in there. I don't look it up, and then I just full send it and hope for the best. One of those full sends and hope for the best was actually Davenport. If I said that correctly once again, hopefully I got that correct now. It's Davenport, not Davenport. There we go. I am learning slowly, folks. It may be a never-ending situation here for me, but I am trying. That's all I can say. I am trying, but huge thank you to everyone who at least commented, corrected me. All of you Iowa locals, thank you very much. And I apologize for the slight annoyance or pain that could have been caused by listening to me butcher, or at least mispronounce ever so slightly, some of the city names today. But at least with this delivery, unless if I have somehow pulled a Prime Simulation blunder, Mason City and Fort Dodge are pretty safe on the pronunciation side. And as far as I know, when doing Prime News videos before, I wasn't corrected on them. But again, Prime Simulation brain could just not be remembering things correctly, and maybe I have been corrected on that before, and if so, I do apologize greatly and honestly. As we roll into Mason City, though, I want to look for this facility. Now, in all honesty, yes, I was trying to find a job around here, and my word was it difficult to try and find some corn to go to an ethanol plant. Who knew? Could find everything else under the sun, and you know, I tried different trailer types in basically a backup for this video just in case. Well, oh, thank you, game, for finally recognizing it. Discovered, that is. I tried everything to try and find equipment or whatever that would go into from that, to or from even that facility. Was finally able to find this going to Fort Dodge from Mason City. You know what? I will take it. It may not be ideal, but it works, okay? it works. My ideal situation would have been going to this Mason City facility for a very specific reason. As we will tell in just a few moments' time when we go around the corner here, this facility is home to 2 of the world's largest grain bins, if I got my math correct. These grain bins hold, is it 2 million bushels? Or is it 2 million pounds? I can't remember. They are massive and they hold a whack ton of grain, enough to hold, or they're big enough that a full airplane can go width-wise in them. I believe it's 150 feet in diameter by about 170 feet tall, if I got my measurements correct. Cannot remember completely from the blog post on that one, but regardless, definitely a big facility. And the other thing around here is that there's this big flavorful facility, so more grain silos and processing around here. Lots happening here in Mason City, and so I assume we will be back here again, and probably actually maybe sooner than later. It just depends on what different deliveries happen here. I am trying to cover a bunch of the areas in the early access phase here for, of course, your enjoyment and mine as well. Being able to explore the different areas of a DLC is always so fun, and I do enjoy the challenge that comes along with it as well, to at least some degree. Stop for the tracks. No trains? No trains. We don't want to have a bunch of corn spread across the tracks today. That would not be fun. And, well, my friends, there we go. There are the 2 grain bins that are absolutely massive. Now, we won't be going in there today. We'll try and do maybe another delivery to there another time in the future, but that's the facility, my friends. Of course, with dynamic unloading, maybe even loading as well. Don't think grain goes out of there, but definitely unloading in that shed right there. From what I can tell, at least, that's kind of standardized stuff. What a complex. Those grain bins are huge. I think I did get my measurements right. 150 feet wide by 170 tall or something like that. Maybe it's the other way around. Either way, that is a complex and a half. And I have a feeling what we will probably come back to do a delivery in the future with that facility is probably hauling ethanol or some form of chemical out of that facility. I would assume that is the best bet for us to get a cool delivery out of there and at least explore the inners of that facility. But just even from here at the stop sign, can we just take a moment to appreciate the detail of that and the scale of those grain bins and just the industry overall? They're big complexes. Gone are the days of the really small prefab delivery points or even pickup points, depending on which end of the logistics chain you're at. So happy to have all these custom facilities around. And even across the road here, we've got a nice looking facility here. Manufacturing place by the looks of it. Really quite neat. What's the company name there? Stelion Customs or something like that. Well, there we go. What a cool area of Mason City, and we will definitely be back very, very soon. But let's continue on our way to Fort Dodge and have a bit more of a chat. So, of course, I'll say it one more time. Back here in the International 9900i. Haven't driven it for a while, and of course, with our Load King trailer behind, it's a staple. Let's be honest, if you've been around here for a while, you know I love my Load King trailers, and in particular, this grain trailer behind me. And to be honest with you, this grain trailer behind me has seen some things. It has gone various paint jobs frequently. The service centers have various logo designs of the Prestige or Load King trailers available for me on the on standby, because I frequently come in and change a few things around on it. But I'm gonna cut my way out here. Sorry, AI, but you can change lanes if you want. We're gonna keep moving here. It's a bit of a staple, and it's seen some things. It's also been a part of many first look videos of various degrees, and I thought, you know what, this isn't a first look video in technicality, but it is a big one, and it's a second look video for here in Iowa, but it is a first in terms of the ethanol plants. And speaking about the ethanol plants, I just love to see some different. Oh, wow, you can even see the scale of it from out here. Truly massive. It is nice just to have another industry type. And the ethanol plants are, despite my challenge of trying to get some form of corn or grain at very least to the facility itself, surprisingly, and that's within Iowa, by the way, that's a bit of a caveat there. They do have a lot of other contracts going to and from them. I can tell you that from my search for this video. From different equipment, plenty of different aromatic and other chemicals that would go to and from the facility. They produce a lot, and that's going to be a really interesting thing to see. And there's a lot of other landmarks here around the area that we're definitely going to want to explore, and I've got some things lined up, which is going to be really cool. But it's just a matter of time until that happens. And oh, look at that. The highway has ended. I guess they're just going to be expanding lanes in the future on that one. Oh, it's kind of technically part of the interchange, I guess. Ah, interesting. So it's a partial, oh, it's an incomplete clover leaf with, I guess, the thought that the highway is going to continue straight in the future. Well, that's kind of neat. I like forward thinkers. I appreciate that. Appreciate that in engineering. And let's get around here. We gotta go over left and get onto, I believe this is the 35? Or is this now the 20? I missed the signs. Well, I guess we'll find out here very soon. Get out in front of that red car, hopefully. And get moseying over to Fort Dodge. But yes, ethanol plants, they have a lot to offer, my friends. So don't be concerned about my tiny bit of a tangent at the beginning of this video and what I've talked about thus far with the difficulty of getting a delivery of corn to the plant. You may not have that issue, but one thing I did notice is that the Iowa DLC doesn't have a ton of farm depots around in it, surprisingly. There are plenty of flavorful and other more processing plants in some evergreen places and a lot of rock ports for the different shipping ports and so on. But a lot of the cities, at least from my initial view, does not have a ton of grain or different farms. There's a handful around the state, of course all custom, but there's not as many as I would have thought. Just a little bit of an insight there, and I guess this is the 20 actually. We were on the 35 before. It's just a little bit of an insight for you, and I think that's where maybe some of the issue with me getting grain to the facility was a bit of an issue, because some of the different ports, so for example the river ports or so on, or the different trade depots, didn't have some of the grain going to the facility, and the farms didn't have it either. So then it was just a continual process to try and find which farm would actually deliver to one of these plants. Fortunately, I was able to find this, again, after quite some time, but your results may vary, especially if you have surrounding states or different DLCs. You may have a better time, and of course, I do have all the different DLCs. Okay, truck, what are you doing? Lad, the lane's closing. What? Is he letting me go? You know, AI, you truly do mesmerize me sometimes, and I will never understand their logic. Let's go from the right lane to the left lane, stop, for no reason, and hold up traffic. Unless if he's trying to stop for that thing and stay there. I don't really know, to be honest, but that's AI for you. It is what it is. Regardless, it is great to be here in Iowa and lots of different industries. The farms, yeah, surprisingly a little bit lacking. And if you do have the surrounding DLCs, like I do, but I wasn't trying to take a delivery from it, you probably will be fine going to the ethanol plants, but that is okay. If you're trying to go within Iowa, your results may vary. I'll just give you that warning right here and now. But there's a lot of different deliveries to do, some different industries as well. Of course, the farm equipment is one that I will be doing very, very soon, and hopefully maybe even the next episode you see here in the game from me, which would be great. That's what my target is, at very least, to try and go from the manufacturing plant, or at least one of them, to the dealers, the new agricultural dealers that are in the game. Again, could be a bit of a contract or logistic nightmare for me to try and get that delivery, but it is all in the name of content and fun, my friends. So everything I do is a bit of a rant. Take with a grain of salt. That is immediate, reaction to Prime at it versus I'm slightly exaggerating it for the sake of, just having fun with a bit of a rant, because we all need a bit of a rant sometimes, right? And you are, to some degrees, unfortunately, the recipient of my rants at times, but a lot of you tend to enjoy that. And there we go, we've discovered Fort Dodge as well. Check it off, the cities, one by one. Oh my word, Prime, your brain is going nuts, man. Starting to lose it, and already starting to talk in, was this third or fifth person? I don't even know how that works anymore. I'm losing it, friends, but it's okay. We're here in ATS. That is all that matters. Now, something that I have noticed across today's delivery is the detail level of different things and just how realistic things feel. And I know a lot of you have been commenting on the various Prime News videos, of course, the first look video even as well, or different DMs, how everything works. And how everything looks, sorry. I guess works is another way that you could put it, but how everything looks and how realistic it truly is. Of course, everything to scale. And oh, by the way, Prime Way Logistics. Cool. Didn't actually realize there was Prime Way Logistics in ATS. Now, I'm not using any mods. Keep that in mind. Huh. Cool. I don't think I've ever clocked that that's a trailer in the game. Huh. Cool. Well, you learn something new every day, or you discover something new every day, especially with me. But the DLCs, the Iowa DLC is incredibly realistic, at least from my humble opinion. And we're actually going to try and get over here, let the truck go by, and we're going to slot in behind him. The Freightliner Cascadia is kindly giving us some space, which I do appreciate. It's incredibly realistic, and I'm so happy to see it. And so far across today's video, once again, I can confidently say I would highly recommend you pick up this DLC. I know a lot of you, according to the first look video, will be. But even if you're on the fence about it, the level has truly increased in terms of detail and just overall really networking around the state, to be honest. There's a lot of opportunity. Yeah, there's, of course, a lot of companies we know and love here in ATS, but there's also new ones. And it's a nice balance, in my opinion. And the depots, albeit some of the names we do recognize, they are custom. They are all, well, I think entirely custom. There may be a few that are a little bit more similar across the board, but in some ways, especially for the sake of a commercial store, a lot of them look the same. But it's the surrounding area that gives it that detail that, well, I am truly happy to see. And not all the time do you see that in games. SES software now, it's just tried and true. Well, we're heading up to Synthetica, or Synthetico. Is it Synthetico or Synthetica? I think it's Co. Yeah, Synthetico. Got it right. Got it right the first time. Trust your instincts, Prime. It's not like you do this, all these different videos and commentary and stuff. I'm sure you can get this right more than not. Yeah, sorry for going in and out of the camera. The buttons were not having it for me. This is a large facility as well. Some massive grain bins around. We need to go... Do we go over the scale? You know what? Let's go on the scale. We're going to weigh ourselves. Up the scale we go. Now, does the arm work? Oh, the quality check. I should have gone to the quality check. There's scale. Obviously, scale doesn't really do anything. You know what? We're going to go back. You know why I'm going to go back? Because I am really hoping that the quality check arm sticks itself into this as I scrape against the barrier there, but don't worry, I own this truck. I am going to really hope that this arm works. My hopes are higher, I think, than what my expectations are, but that's okay. We need to dream, right? So we're going to pull ahead here. And does it do anything? If I stop at the quality control line, she doesn't move. Well, that's a shame. Oh, well, it was worth a shot. We way backed up and then... Well, I guess the arm could have gone either way. It pivots. It doesn't really need to go one way or the other. Oh, well, you know what? That's future expansion for SEO software. SEO software, I know you guys watch these videos. First of all, thank you once again. Second of all, extra layer of realism if you do this whole gate feature, like at a lot of the other depots where you interact with that. I'll just add the little sampling to that. That'd be great. Just, you know, opinion on that one. And I'm sure a lot of you watching this video would agree with me on that. Realism is always good. Now, this is a massive facility. Some would argue, I mean, it's definitely, I would say, smaller than Mason City, but not by much. It doesn't have the massive grain bins, but it certainly produces a lot of material, which is for sure. And so we're going to pull through here. And once we pull in, I'm going to try and see what the camera can do here. So we can see our dynamic unloading of our hopper trailer. Where is it coming out? There we go. It's unloading, which is great. So I think it will do the first one. Yeah, there we go. It's removing itself from the trailer. Oh man, this is so cool. Is this one of the first times I've done it with grain? I think it may actually be one of the first times I've done it with grain. I know I've tried to do dynamic unloading before with grain, and it's never worked because just the delivery depots I go to, or some of the other, there we go. Some of the other depots or settings that I had early on was dynamic unloading, where, well, the way the game would do it is if you had it set to skill parking, it would not do the dynamic unloading for that in most cases. Now, as you can tell today, it still if dynamic unloading or loading is available, it will do that regardless of your skill parking settings or whatever, which is honestly fantastic because, especially me, I can appreciate some quality of life improvements like that, and well, I can't really complain. So we're going to just pull ahead here out of the shed, and then thank you all so much for watching. What a great episode here in Iowa. Once again, with this International 9900i hauling some grain here to the ethanol plant. What a fantastic addition to the game that is the ethanol plants, and a cool logistics network that do have a lot of different options. Of course, maybe hauling corn to it surprisingly could be a little bit harder to find within Iowa itself, but maybe that's just my experience, and it probably is, so do not be concerned about that one. Comment down below if you want to see anything else from me here in the Iowa DLC or across ATS or ETS2 or any game that you see fit with Prime Simulation in general. Comment down below. I'd like to know your opinion. Thank you all once again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.